Scrimming can be a super fun and exciting experience, but it can also be really mentally taxing and aggravating if you don't find the right team. Luckily, I have a lot of experience with the whole spectrum, so let's get right into it. Playing Overwatch by yourself is a great way to improve your mechanics and learn a lot about yourself, but sometimes it just doesn't cut it. If you have ever played in a scrim environment, you know exactly what I mean. While playing with friends can be fun, oftentimes they don't have the same motives as you or just don't play competitively. So, to get the real experience Overwatch has to offer, getting a consistent stack to play with is essential, but also extremely difficult. Luckily enough, today I can help you through the confusing process. Teams are a great way to accelerate your growth as a player. You'll come to find that scrims and tournament matches tend to be much faster paced than your regular ladder matches. Before I move on to my advice for finding a team, it is really important that you understand that it does not matter what your SR is that you start at, as there are teams everywhere. It is more important that you find what motivates you as a player, as it will help you find what you are looking for much faster. Common motivations from my time in the path to pro include wanting to go pro, whether that be within the Overwatch League or contenders, improving as a player and as a person, since the path to pro can teach you a lot about yourself, having as much fun as possible, or making as much prize money as possible. Obviously, some of these motivations work well together compared to others. Every player is different, so motivations vary widely from person to person, but it is really important that you figure out this early. When you eventually trial for teams, understand that you are trialing for them just as much as they are trialing for you. There are a lot of factors that go into finding the perfect environment. The best teams are not all the same and they function drastically differently. So it's important to ask yourself if the team meets certain criteria. First off, it is incredibly important that you assess the motivations of every single person involved with the team to make sure that they all align. When picking players as a coach or even as a teammate, I cannot stress enough how important this is. If the other 5 players on a plat team are extremely eager to prove themselves and have similar schedules, but you have an option between a plat DPS with the same ideals or a masters DPS that is just trying to have a good time, it is infinitely more valuable to pick up the plat player. Within a month of solid practice and good regimens with motivation, you have a Masters team on your hands that is still eager to compete compared to a Masters team with a very weak link. Moving on to the next point, it is really important that you assess the situation with staff. As a player, your manager and coaches are the people you are going to be working with every single day, and it is important that you get along with them. It is the same thing if you are planning to join a team as a coach. You have to like your players and try your best to make sure personalities don't collide. That being said, there are many different ways to manage a team across various levels. It is important to ask yourself what you want out of an environment or not. As a player, do you prefer having only one manager, one coach, or not a coach at all? Do you possibly enjoy an environment with many different coaches and managers to be part of a greater whole? It all comes down to your motivations. If you're just trying to have fun with friends, perhaps coaching isn't necessary. But if you are trying to improve and take it seriously, larger environments are common. The big takeaway from this section is to make sure that you like the people you work with, as you are going to be working with them a lot. I'm under the assumption that most people watching this video are not tier 3 or above, so there are many different options out there giving you the opportunity to pick and choose your journey at the start. Just make sure you commit to your decisions, which leads us into our next topic. The third topic of today's video consists of commitment. How similar is your schedule to the people you will be working with? The standard times where scrims usually occur are anywhere from 6 to 12 p.m. Eastern Time, but it all depends on your level of play. Scrims last for 2 hours, and the higher you go, the more likely you will be having 2 scrims a night. However, it is important to highlight that every single team environment is different. Because of this, it is important to figure out every person's schedule as well as their motivation, as we stated previously. If half the team wants to double block every day and the other half wants to only do single blocks with a lot of days off, it simply won't work. This is why our first point of motivation is so important, as it guides you through the entire process. Typically, when all of the players want to focus on improvement and become the best, 4 hours of scrims a day on top of isolated training is pretty standard. So, assessing motivation is important alongside assessing the time commitment you can or want to put in. Even if you can't put in the 4 hours a day, substitute positions are everywhere and are great for developing as a player. I can vouch. My last bonus tip is to make sure that you are challenging yourself. This one goes back to your motivations. And if you are just trying to have fun or make money, this doesn't exactly apply to you. However, if you are trying to improve and be your best self, you have to make sure you are pushing yourself. Let's say you are a Masters player and you want to join a team. You could certainly join a Platinum team and pub stomp some scrims with ease, and that would be fun and enjoyable for most players, as you are in a pretty comfortable state. However, if you are trying to improve, I encourage you to find environments where you are either on level or slightly below to truly challenge yourself. Being the worst player in the room, or voice chat in this case, is such an amazing opportunity that you should never pass up. Being uncomfortable is a good sign of self-improvement as a person and as a player, as long as the discomfort isn't unhealthy. Getting stomped in scrims is a good thing, as it is a sign that you have things to improve on in order to compete at the next level. To put it into perspective, while I was on attack mode, I was most definitely the worst player there, and looking back at it, I still probably am the worst player out of the group. However, I have improved more than I have ever before in that environment. Those of you that have watched me as a player grow have definitely seen it not only in my streams, but in the way that I think about the game as well. I was always pushed to my limits in that environment, and it shows that being the worst player on a team isn't necessarily a bad thing. In actuality, it is a very good thing for improvement in the grand scheme of things. That being said, it is important that you hold yourself to a high standard and respect every single person you come in contact with. The last thing you want is to develop an ego, as it will hurt you from getting connections down the road, and it makes the overall experience less enjoyable. Having an ego can hurt your team environment as well, and can hold you back from advancing through the path to pro. Always challenge yourself and put improvement above all else, so long as that is your motivation. Now that I have given you some criteria to think about, how exactly do you join a team? There are tons of different servers out there that were made for recruiting new players from various different skill ratings. My recommendations for servers to start in include the official Overwatch Open Division Discord, as well as Elo House Discords. There are lots of players with different motivations in these Discords for you to meet. The more you progress through the ranks, the more I encourage you to join other Discords like League Zero and the OTC Rose community. These are great places to develop relationships with players that are motivated to improve and be the best. These Discords, as well as the Open Division Discord and the Elo Hells Discords, will be linked in the description. That being said, I also urge you to join my Discord to meet players from all across the path to pro, as well as receive updates for my videos as well as when I go live. And with that said, thank you for watching the video. If this video was helpful in any way whatsoever, please do leave a like and consider subscribing, as it helps out the channel a ton. If you do have any further questions, I urge you to join my Discord as well as stop by my Twitch to get your questions answered live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 4 PM EST over at twitch.tv/PazSwagger. But until next time, guys, I've got to peace out and Paz out. I'll see you in the next one.